Good morning, everybody. My name is Emanuel.
My name is Angelo.
And today, we will collectively present to you guys our presentation on the Kahnawhake and Kanasetake communities. To start off, I will be talking about the Kanasetake community in particular, looking at them from a historical and cultural perspective. While others may see it as just a place of residence, it holds significant value to the Mohawk community, and influential events within Kanasetake symbolize the resilience of their people. Next, Angelo will give us a brief introduction on the Kahnawhake community, looking at the presence of the Kahnawhake warriors during the War of 1812, taking into account their economic contributions and their historical role in education. We will then end off the oral with a conclusion. However, make sure to pay attention because we have a Kahoot set up when it finishes and the winner will get a prize. Kanasetake is a Mohawk community located in the southwestern region of Quebec. If you refer to the image below, it would be on the far left-hand side. Its sister community, Kahnawhake, is located on the opposite side of two bodies of water, the St. Lawrence River and the Lake of Two Mountains, which Angelo will talk about shortly. The Mohawk people are also known as the Kahnawhake, having a long-lasting influence in the greater Montreal area, dating back to the early 1600s. The community, rich in history, is generally known by the public due to the Oka crisis of 1990, advocating for Indigenous rights within Canada. Their language is quite the unique one. Known as Kahnawhake, it's a branch of the Iroquois languages that is specifically used by the Mohawk nations that split north after the recurring wars between the European settlers. However, the origins of the language date back to thousands of years ago. According to Jeremy Green, in their alphabet, they only use a total of 12 letters, significantly less than the 26 in the English language. Fun fact, the word Canada is actually based off the Kahnawhake language, coming from the word Kanata, which translates to town in English. Although this language is universal to all Mohawk communities, there are two main dialects, Eastern and Western. The Eastern dialect, used in Kanasetake, is known to incorporate words from the French language into their language. As stated by Joseph Pentangelo, there are only less than 60 residents within Kanasetake that currently speak the language, with numbers dying down as the community ages. The Oka crisis not only serves a significant role within the Indigenous community, but in Canada as a whole. It started off on July 11th of 1990, where a police officer was killed in an altercation between the Mohawk protesters in an attack on one of their barricades. As stated by Tabitha de Bruin, the tensions between the town of Oka and the Mohawk community were due to the Oka golf course wanting to expand their land, which at first glance doesn't seem too problematic. However, the land they wanted to expand onto was a Mohawk burial ground. The community wouldn't allow that, therefore, gathered warriors to fight for their Indigenous rights. On August 20th, 1990, the Canadian Armed Forces were deployed in Kanasetake in order to de-escalate tensions between the Mohawk community and the Quebec Provincial Police. With help from their sister community, Kahnawhake, they blocked off the Mercier Bridge, making it very hard for people from the South Shore to commute to their jobs, affecting the economy. The standoff between the police and protesters lasted 78 days, before the warriors surrendered to the army by gathering their weapons and burning them in a bonfire.
The Kahnawhake Mohawks played a big role in the War of 1812, fighting with the British against the US. They were part of Indigenous groups that helped protect Canada and fought in important battles like Queenston in 1812, Chateauguay in 1813, and Beaver Dams in 1813. These warriors were super skilled fighters and a huge help to the British. To make sure they weren't mistaken for the enemy, they dressed in British uniforms and had British leaders. Even though they did a lot, they had to wait until 1848 to get their medals. A lot of them also had a hard time getting land and money for what they did. For years, history just mixed Kahnawhake warriors in with other Indigenous groups, so people didn't really recognize what they did. But now, more research is showing how important they were in defending Canada. Kahnawhake has become a major player in the gaming industry, largely thanks to the Kahnawhake Gaming Commission, which was established in 1996. This commission regulates online gambling and gaming, attracting global companies and creating jobs within the community. The online gaming sector has helped Kahnawhake generate significant revenue and has played a key role in the community's financial growth. Aside from gaming, Kahnawhake runs a bunch of successful businesses like casinos, construction companies, and tech ventures. These businesses help grow the local industry and give people jobs, which is super important for the people who live there. Kahnawhake focuses on being financially independent so they can support themselves without outside help. They also work hard to keep their history and way of life alive. By mixing modern businesses with their roots, they've built a strong and successful place that keeps growing and helping future generations. One important part of Kahnawhake's history is their connection to the early residential schools in Canada. In the 1800s, Kahnawhake had one of the first residential schools run by the Catholic Church. The goal was to force Indigenous kids to give up the culture and live like Europeans, which hurt a lot of people. What makes Kahnawhake special is that they fought back. Even though the school tried to make them forget their language and way of life, the people in Kahnawhake stayed strong. They kept speaking Mohawk, following their customs, and staying close to their land. This resistance became a big part of their history and helped them protect their culture and fight for their rights today. It shows how Kahnawhake has always stood up to keep their roots alive, no matter what challenges they face.
The Kanasetake and Kahnawhake communities hold deep historical, cultural, and political significance. From their language and traditions to the resistance during events like the Oka Crisis, the Mohawk people have continually fought to preserve their identity and rights. Their contribution to history, economy, and education remain vital to Canada's past and present. Understanding their story allows us to recognize their resilience and the ongoing importance of Indigenous rights and land protection. Here are our annotated works cited lists. Thank you for listening.